On Thursday, January 15, 2009, Durham community leaders, human rights attorneys, and the families of the victims of police violence held a rally in front of the Durham Police Department. Their demonstration was part of a nationwide protest to raise awareness of the killing of Oscar Grant by a Bay Area Rapid Transit police officer.
My name is Nia Wilson. I am the executive director of Spirit House, which is a local nonprofit organization here that uses art and media to amplify the voices of oppressed communities. I work with young people every day. I do want to give honor and praise to Dr. King, but I have to be honest, it's hard at times like these to be nonviolent. Of course that's what we need to be. I don't want to lose any more of the young people in my community, but it's hard when we're so angry. Yesterday when I picked students up from school, they sat in my van and they said, "Mama Nia, why do I have to come out of my classroom and see 20 police officers in the hall? Why are we paying to have police walk through the hallways to make sure that I get to class?" And I don't think anybody ever addresses the fear that that must instill in those young people every day, particularly after they watch a video where they see a man who was acting nonviolently in a way that he was being cooperative be gunned down. And then they go to school the next day where their schools, where we're having difficulties in education, where the money's not being put into after school, where the money's not being put into tutoring, where the halls are filled with armed people to quote unquote keep the peace, as though the community cannot do what we need to do to make sure that our children get their education. According to the Children's Defense Fund, 1 in 3 black boys born in the year 2001 will spend time in prison. And African American children are 4 times as likely to spend time in prison than white children. How are our children supposed to feel? I have a son. Yesterday afternoon, after having this discussion with the children, my daughter called me. She was angry, she was frustrated, she was driving home, and there was a group of young black males walking from the corner store. She said she was in the turning lane. There was a police officer, or she was in the lane going forward. There was a police car in the turning lane. He waited for her to move up so that he could get over behind her, and then he stopped the bunch of children that were walking from the corner store. She drove around 3 times. By the 3rd time, they were handcuffed and being pat down. They were walking from the store. Slaves were not allowed to gather more than 3 on the street. How do our children feel having to do this every day? I worry for my son when he has to walk to the corner store. But the question becomes, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do to hold the police accountable for this?
When we lose our young people, it's a hard reminder that that our systems are failing us. So I guess now, as there's a small but mighty group of us gathered in thinking about the future, and so the question that's been on my mind is, since this kind of violence disproportionately affects certain communities, what's it going to take to wake up other people who aren't affected? So if we're giving thanks to Dr. King today, then he said an injustice to one person is an injustice to everyone, right? He said we have to choose between chaos or community.
We got another problem that we need to focus on. Besides, we need to get Obama to put good federal judges in. We've never had a black judge in the Eastern or Western District in North Carolina in the federal courts. We got 4 or 5 vacancies up in Richmond at the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals, which sets the laws for what happens to the cops here. These cops right up in here, they love having these Jesse Helms judges in here. They love it. They can do anything they want. And we've got to change that.
Let's continue to work together. Let's continue to dramatize these issues so that folks can't turn away. And let's continue to bring the issues that are underneath this, like unfair education, like racial profiling. We don't have to have corporate bailouts. We need money put into small businesses in our neighborhoods. And people across the country are getting angry about that.